Hey, Journey family and friends, welcome to Midweek Conversations. Pastor John, Pastor Dustin.
Good to be here with you as always. Hopefully you had a great week last week.
Yeah.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, my man. Yeah, everybody had a good week except Gators fans, probably, in the NCAA tournament. They kind of got bounced.
We're doing good. We're not all about one sport.
Oh,
Got
okay, gotcha.
Baseball's doing good. Yeah, it's hard to compete with Oral Roberts University.
On Sunday.
On the Sabbath, took it to my Gators, and so Pastor John is grateful for that. However, his Wildcats,
We didn't even get in the tournament.
They've been at home for a while.
Yeah, who am I to talk?
March Madness, though.
March Sadness.
This is one of your favorite times of the year.
Oh, I love it. Love watching all these games, these upsets. It's been great.
And then right after that, for the sport fans, and I know you would like this too, then we got the Masters coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. Good time of year.
Well, you know what else we got coming up in a couple weeks?
Easter.
We got Easter coming up.
Love Easter.
April 4th, Easter. So we're very excited about Easter this year. I really do think, and every week we do see people returning in person that we haven't seen for a long time. And I think that's going to be magnified on Easter. I think we're going to see some folks that haven't been with us, and they're going to be out. And so that's why we're doing 5 services at Apopka and 3 at Lake County and 5 online. We start at Apopka with 7:15 with an outdoor kind of sunrise service, a little bit old school on that. Bring a lawn chair, bring one for a friend as well, but that's going to be good. And then we move indoors 8:30, 10, 11:30, and 1 at Apopka, 8:30, 10, and 11:30 at Lake County, and the same for online. Not going to be doing online sunrise service.
Nope.
So not going to have our video crew out for the 7:15 service.
But we wanted to have multiple service times, but also multiple venues.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we wanted everybody to feel comfortable, like they can go somewhere with maybe a little space. So we're going to open up the gym. We're going to open up some more rooms at both campuses.
Right, and like for the out at Lake County, what we talk about the children's theater as well as the worship center. So to be able to accommodate all the people that'll be there, and to give people that choice to be able to wherever you're most comfortable.
Yep. No, that'd be good. We'd love to be able to invite you, but here's the thing. Pandemic, as we know, has been hard. And when life gets hard, a lot of people, they think about God. Yeah. So there are more people processing God than you probably believe or anticipate. So that coworker, that neighbor, that friend, family member you've been praying for years, there's a good chance they would say yes to an invitation now to a service maybe than any other time in their life. And so I want to encourage you, begin praying for them and then see if God would give you an opportunity to invite someone.
I think we're going to hear a message this Sunday.
We are going to hear a message.
That's going to talk a little bit about so what.
Yeah.
We've been doing this series called Cross-Examine, why, what, who, and this week's going to be so what. And the big so what takeaway is we got work to do.
Yep, and so one of the things that the disciples and Mary did as soon as they saw that the tomb was empty is they ran and they spread the news, and they spread the news because it was good news. And I think we sometimes forget that the gospel is good news.
Yeah, right.
It's not news that we have to sit on. It's good news. And I'll just give a quick teaser, Pastor John. You and I have not talked about this. I used to think people were a little bit nervous of evangelizing, sharing their faith, because they didn't want to offend their friend or coworker or neighbor. But 2020 showed us people don't care about offending anybody anymore. So people are wide open with their opinions, their politics. So it's like, okay, if you don't mind offending people there, then this should be a great time for you to be able to be bold with your faith. So
There you go. Well, that's this week's message coming up. Look forward for you joining us online or on site this Sunday. Last Sunday of March, hard to believe that's coming up, and Pastor Dustin's going to share a good word with us about so what, and excited about that. Hey, we're excited right now to take a turn, and we're going to throw it to a conversation that you and I had with Pastor Randy Green. And believe it or not, this is not a rooted promotion, which is hard to think that we could talk about Randy or talk with Randy and not get deep into Rooted. Yeah. We'll do that again. But we talk about the work that Randy and his wife Sandra started in Kazakhstan 20 years ago. Which is crazy. Just learned that this year's the 20th anniversary of the church plant that Randy and Sandra did in Kazakhstan. And we continue to support the work, the church that's going on in Kazakhstan. And Pastor Randy's going to share what we can pray for and who's leading that. And so that's a part of this conversation right now. So,
well, before we do that,
yep,
here, we got a fresh Pastor Randy story. This is just classic Pastor Randy.
Okay.
So if you don't know Pastor Randy personally, he just shared a story with us. He was trying to buy a used lawnmower.
Yeah.
And so he went to purchase the lawnmower off Craigslist or something.
Facebook
Marketplace.
Facebook
and
Marketplace.
Goes and meets the person. And of course, you know, Pastor Randy has never met a stranger.
Right.
And so they end up somehow connecting, and somehow they end up knowing each other's family, and he ends up inviting them to Easter. So this whole idea that we're just talking about, he just used an opportunity to buy a lawnmower to invite somebody to Easter.
As I said,
Randy.
Only Pastor Randy could turn a lawnmower search into a revival meeting.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That's just who he is. So hope you enjoy this conversation with Pastor Randy Green.
Hey, we are happy to have one of our, we always say favorite. Everybody's our favorite.
Pastor Randy is one of my favorite people.
One of our favorites.
I'm so glad to be one of the favorites. There you go.
So Pastor Randy Green is with us today, joining us.
Don't leave me hanging, Pastor Randy.
Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry about that.
There's a lot of things we could talk to Pastor Randy Green about. He's a
Renaissance man.
There's a lot of territory we can cover.
There is.
But we are here today to cover a specific thing and count how many times Randy sneaks the word rooted in here in this conversation. Just count and see. This is not about rooted, although it's very important once you get connected to rooted if you've not already done that.
That's right. Rooted is great.
Yeah, rooted is great. So that's one. I've done it 2 or 3 times. But what you may not know about Pastor Randy, and if you did a little bit of watching with us, I hope you did a whole lot of watching with us in our daily Acts study. Pastor Randy talked in one of those messages. What was that? One of the first ones you did, Acts 8 or Acts something. Just go watch them all and find it. But he talks about he was a missionary, first in Russia, lived in Russia. How many years you live in Russia?
A couple.
2 years. And then came back to the States for a few years. And then the Lord called you back to Kazakhstan.
Right. We were there for 5.
And that's what we want to talk about today, because the mission that Pastor Randy and his family started in Kazakhstan is one of our strategic mission partners. Maybe you didn't know that. So, Randy, tell us just a little bit about what led you over to Kazakhstan to start with.
Well,
besides the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit, of course. But we had a friend of ours that was a elder at the North Atlanta church, and so he asked me if I'd be interested in going to Kazakhstan, and I told him, I said, sure, if you got enough money for us to live and have a working fund. Okay. Yeah. And so they had enough money for us to live, but not to have a working fund. So I said, no.
Okay.
I don't want to go. And then about 2-3 years later, I met this guy again, and at that time I was in Kaufman, Texas, and they were getting ready to send me out to any mission point that I wanted to go to in the world. They said, you can go anywhere you want. We'll fund you. We'll do whatever you want to do, and we believe in you, so just you and your family can go. And so, again, at a missions conference, I met Ron Wood. He said, man, I hadn't seen you. What are you doing? I told him I was getting ready to go somewhere in the world. And he said, look, we still have money at North Atlanta. If you'll go to Almaty, then we'll support you. And I said, okay, we'll go look at it. And so we were doing kind of a survey trip. I don't even know
what Almaty is. Is that a country? What is
Almaty. That's Almaty, Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Almaty.
All right.
Yeah.
How old are you at this
That's
point?
the capital of Kazakhstan.
See how little I know.
Yeah.
How
it
old
was
are
the
you
capital.
at this time?
Oh, it's no longer now?
No, Astana.
See, that's what
gotcha.
I thought.
Sorry.
I thought it was
Yeah,
past tense.
you had it right.
How old are you at this time that you're processing this?
To Almaty. Let's see. In 2000, when we went.
Okay, so we're talking
and so
less than 20 years ago.
yeah, well,
Yeah, so
20 years this year.
Okay.
Okay, this coming year.
So you have a family and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we at that time we had 5 kids, and so while we were there, we ended up getting KK.
So this is not a small decision. You know, you got a family of 5, married, you've had a career, and so for you to go, I mean, any missions is a big deal. At this point, this is a really big deal. So keep going.
So anyway, Ron went with us. We went on this trip, and we went over there and we looked and we saw what the city was like. It was beautiful over there and right next to the mountains over there. And so we ended up with 2 churches partnering together. Okay. And so it just wasn't one church having to do the whole thing. And so it's something that we've worked together, and both those churches still are involved in the work over in Almaty.
No, wonderful. So you helped plant a church in the city of Almaty,
right? And
the church is called
the Light of Jesus.
The Light of Jesus Church,
right?
And cool story. Your church in Russia, in what's it called again? The city Tomsk.
Yeah.
Your church there. You led a man to Christ, baptized him, named Misha,
right?
Who was a translator,
right. And
Misha asked you, does just Americans get to be missionaries? Something like that. I mean,
yeah. When we were getting ready to go to Almaty, and Misha found out, he said, "Hey, Randy, I'd like to go with you." And I said, "Well, I'd love for you to go, but we trained you up and raised you up to be the pastor there at Tomsk." And he says, "Well, I mean, can only you Americans be the missionaries? Can't we be missionaries as well? Because, from Tomsk to Kazakhstan, it's a whole different country. Even though they speak the same language, it's a whole different thing." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Ask your leadership. If your leadership will let you, I'd be more than glad for you to come." And so he did. We got their blessing, and he came. And then another guy that we had trained while we was there, he was raised up to be the lead pastor there. And so
let's talk about those 2 guys. So it's Misha and Oksana,
right,
and Sasha and Zhenya. Right. Did I say it right? Okay.
And you remember names so well.
Yeah, well, that was impressive.
These 2 guys are just dear brothers. I know you love them a lot. They're like your sons in probably a lot of ways.
They are.
They doing a great work over there. So one of them, Misha, is more the kind of the pastor of the church, right? And Sasha has done a lot with one of the ministries that we support is the children's home.
Right.
To talk a little bit about how that children's home developed.
Okay, so while Sandra and I were there in Almaty, every time you'd go to the markets or everywhere you went, you'd see these kids begging for food, and they were they were orphans, and so at 16 years old back then, they would just get kicked out of the orphanages, and they had no place to go, and so I would always try to help them out a little bit and everything, but we had found a place that we had a 5-year lease on. And so we started building a church building there. Renovating this place. And then right next to it, there was a place that was just right for like little bitty offices, like 8x8 rooms, type things in there. And so Sandra and I was over there, and she goes, "Man, this would be great for these kids. If we could just get kids to come there." And so that's what we did. We prayed over it, and we asked people to help us build it, and they did. I just asked for money, and we had enough money come in. We almost had enough money, and right at the very end, one of the folks that I'd baptized, she and her workers finished it up free. For free, so that we could, get all these kids in here, and that's where Sasha and Zhenya come in.
Yeah, gotcha. And they are the ones that kind of oversee that house and all that.
Yeah.
How many kids are you talking back then or now? Obviously, COVID's changed some things.
Yeah. Well,
what does that look like?
Well, back then we had anywhere from 15 to 22 kids, and that was in our first location. The mafia kicked us out of that location. Those were the ones that came with guns and stuff and said, "Yeah, you need to leave."
So this is a Kazakhstan mafia.
Yep.
People I don't want to.
No,
I don't want.
No, when I walked into their office, these guys are with their suits and everything, and it was the boxing mafia. Okay, the people that's in boxing, and so these guys.
So you mean boxing has mafia involved?
Even there.
This is starting to sound like what we've been studying.
Boxing
and Acts.
Yeah. I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but yeah.
But this is the kind of ministry that Randy, not just there. This is the kind of ministry that Randy just is. This is what he loves and bleeds, and so just really cool to hear about that. That kid's home.
So
really neat.
So anyway, we had been there for a couple of years, and then they came in and said, "You can't have this place anymore. Leave." And I said, "No, we're not going to do that." And so there was a big, a lot of talking and everything, and I got a lawyer involved, and we was able to stave it off for about 6 months, and then I went into the bigwig's place, and actually it was a woman that ran the thing. Okay, wow. It was a lady that was over this whole thing. These guys are in the black jackets. They got these little things in their ears, and they got guns right here. Okay, and so they meant business. And so when I went in there, I told that lady, I said, "Listen, you can't just kick these kids out on the street. We got 20 kids here." And I said, they're from your country. And she goes, "Well, I can't help that." And I said, "Aren't you like Islamic or something like that?" And she goes, "Yes." And I said, "Do you know what the Quran says about when you take stuff from an orphan and do bad things to orphans? You know what it's going to do to you and to your children, to your children's children?" And she goes, "No." And so I told her, I took the Quran. I had the Quran. I'd been studying it a lot, And so I took the Quran. I told her, this is what your Quran says. Okay. I said, nevertheless, what the Bible says, but this is what your Quran says. I said, so you're in deep water here. And so
Gus ahead of the mafia. You're in deep water. Hey.
So anyway, I said, you can't kick them out on the street. And so they allowed us to stay in there, I don't know, another 6 months or something until I, and so we found the lighthouse, and so we bought the lighthouse then. That's when we bought the lighthouse.
And what is that? That's the children's home.
That's a children's home, that we have now.
Yeah, I'm sure you're seeing some pictures of this. Comes up. It's a big structure. I have been to Almaty. Randy,
yeah, we had fun.
I went on a mission trip. My wife and I, Melinda and I, both went. We had a great team that went over there. What was that, about 4 or 5 years ago? Yeah, somewhere in the neighborhood. Yeah, and actually, we did a kind of a church retreat. Yeah, up in the mountains a little bit. This is a big house, and this a whole nother story, Randy. We don't have time to tell about that, but I did some kind of. Spa, not the spa. What is that called? Turkish bath. I did
a banya.
There's a banya in this house.
I hope we got pictures of this.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
You don't want pictures of the
You don't want any pictures of the banya. So me and a bunch of these Kazakhstan men, they said, Pastor John, we want you to do a banya with us. And we'll just kind of leave it there. I mean, nothing illegal, immoral, anything going on, but it was wild. I've never experienced anything like that before.
It was hot and cold. Right?
It was hot and cold. That's exactly right. It was hot and cold.
Hey, speaking of, how cold is it there? You telling these stories makes me cold. How cold? Like give us some degrees. We're Floridians here. Yeah. What is that like?
It's like in the summer. Here, I mean, it's like 20
like
below
Chicago
zero.
there? Is it like Canada? What's the reference?
In the wintertime, 20, 25 below zero, and then
that's cold.
I'm trying to think of what that latitude, the line of latitude is, Randy, and it's like a Canadian city. It's maybe about a Toronto. It's
cold.
It's cold. I mean, it's there. It's as he was telling you a little earlier there. It's beside Russia. Yep. It's beside Mongolia, China. all that there. So
today it's 34 degrees there.
34 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing. If
not
you
too
don't
bad.
know Pastor Randy, I want to encourage you to get to know him, because what you're seeing is really his whole life. And what we are blessed here at Journey with is she just loves to disciple people. He is fearless when it comes to the gospel. And I love the wisdom of using the Quran to help people fulfill the gospel vision that God has called you to do.
And just to say, you know what? No matter whatever book you want, your book, our book,
pick a book.
pick a book. This ain't right.
This is not right.
This ain't right. I mean, I love it.
We're going to shut you down. No, you're not.
That's a great. You're right, Pastor Dustin. That's a great illustration of just who Randy is. Just a bold, but loving brother and witness.
Absolutely.
And I know at the end of our time here, Randy just got a video from our two leaders there, Sasha and Misha, and they've just kind of given an update of what happened this past year, because it wasn't just the American church that was affected by COVID, the global church was affected. And so some things they had to do differently and things like that. But you were mentioning something about being a distribution center?
Yeah, I mean, for Eastern European missions, they are they're distributing Bibles and Bible literature. He told me that like
18,500.
Yeah, 18,500.
Now, Pastor Randy, let me pause you there. Why is that? I mean, passing out Bibles anywhere is awesome, big deal. Why is that even bigger there? Help us put into context.
This is a Muslim country.
Right. That's what I want you to help paint that picture of why that's so huge.
Well, it's huge because you can die in some of these countries that are around Kazakhstan, not Kazakhstan, right now, but in some of the countries around there, you can die if you have a Bible. And so for them to be able to distribute that many copies of the Bible to people, it's an amazing thing. And also, they know about the YouVersion and all that kind of stuff, and so they send all that stuff out as well.
You were saying that Sasha Misha has been taking some of our messages from Journey and translating them and using them there as well.
Yeah, Misha has a YouTube channel, and so he takes some of the messages from Pastor John, from different ones around the world, Craig Rochelle and different ones like that, and he translates them into Russian. And his YouTube channel is just kind of blowing up because there are a lot of people that are watching these things. And
what a great idea!
You're speaking in Russian over there, and you don't even know it.
That's awesome.
Well, while I'm thinking about it, let us. I gotta imagine they may watch this.
Yeah,
and I'm sure they will watch this. And so we just want to stop and say thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for how you're doing it. And Journey Church loves you.
Amen.
And I know Pastor Randy loves you, but you got a whole church that loves you and praying for you, and just so grateful for you, and incredible to keep hearing stories, including 18,500 Bibles. When it says in Isaiah that every time the word goes out, it never returns void. Mm-hmm. And so all those Bibles is accomplishing something somewhere right now. And what a great story. That's awesome.
So, and what they do mainly a lot, especially with the orphans and things there. We don't right now, because of just different situations. We don't have full-time orphans living at the Lighthouse. But what we have is the ministry has expanded to different families that are like foster parents or have adopted children. We have one family that adopted. Remember those kids?
Yes.
There's Mike and Gulnar.
Yeah.
They adopted that whole family.
Yeah.
And so we help them. And from time to time, the Lighthouse is used for a respite house of things and people coming in and everything. And so it's kind of it's an amazing thing. One thing that we'd started off with the Lighthouse, and now all of a sudden it's evolved into actually a bigger ministry of doing things.
It sounds like it's not just at one location.
No, it's not. It's all over.
Yeah, it's kind of moved out.
That's really cool.
Well, let me just say this again. So thank you for giving to Journey. And part of what you do when you give to Journey is you help support the ministry in Kazakhstan, the ministry that Pastor Randy and his family started many years ago, almost 20 years ago, when he was there. But that work continues on. You're also helping support two really good men in Sasha and Misha and their families. They're just top level guys. I mean, both of them, just in character and articulate and bright. It's cool. Another mission partner that we have, TCM, Taking Christ to the Millions. Sasha is in school in Taking Christ to the Missions. So when I spoke there more recently, a couple years ago in Austria, one of the professors said, I have one of my students lives in Kazakhstan. And I said, well, I can't imagine there'd be a lot of in Almaty. And I said, it's not Sasha, is it? He said, yes. And ended up, making a connection there. So anyhow, cool. just love how God works it out. Pastor Randy, any final things you want to say about the good work there? Well,
there's a great youth ministry that's going on there, and they're just reaching out. They have small groups that are in the community and everything. The church is meeting now on site, but as well as online.
Oh, good.
Okay. And so it's kind of like us.
Has it been a recent thing?
Yeah. Well, they've been able to meet on site some since November, but then it got shut down, and then it's kind of goes up on. But now, they can meet on site, but they only have like 25 or 30 people that's meeting there. But then they have, throughout the week, they have about 90 to 100 people that meet online with them to see that. And that's and just to the church here, I'll just tell you, man, like John said, I appreciate the way that you give unselfishly to the work over there. I love those guys. My wife and I say they're like part of our family.
Well, we say our mission is making disciples of Jesus that love God, love people, and serve the world, and that's part of how we serve the world. Yeah. And when you get into a part of the world like that, I was hearing a great message today that said proximity is power. And when you move into areas like that and you get close up and you see it, like you did for 5 years, I did for like 5 days, but God shows you some things there and begins to reveal himself in a whole new way. So we want to make sure you hang on, watch this video. This is put together by Misha and Sasha. Randy, there's so much more we could talk about. We're going to have you back and update us again about the work. Tell us some more mafia stories. I
guess so.
In Kazakhstan. I bet you do. So, love you, Brother Randy.
Yeah. I love y'all too.
And thanks for sharing with us today.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, you hang in and watch this video from our brothers and sisters in Kazakhstan.
No,